serious, have you ever purposefully tried to get revenge on someone, only to realize it hurt them way worse than you intended? If so, what did you do? Girl at school kept telling her friends my sister was a whore. I accidentally spilled chili on her new shirt. Turns out her grandma had just died, and they had went shopping for that shirt together like the week before, making it the last thing she ever gave her. She was out of school for about a month for personal stuff. And to be fair, my sister was / is a complete whore. When I was in my late teens, I was newly involved with a girl who cheated on me, so I went out of my way to get involved with her childhood best friend. I ended up hurting both of them and permanently ending their relationship. As far as I know, I've always seriously regretted the whole thing because it was so unnecessary and immature of me to act like that when I should have just let it go and moved on. A man followed my mum home from her work, a bar about 20 minutes away on foot. He followed her into the house, almost breaking the door, and got his dick out in the living room. I was upstairs at the time, so I only heard, but when she said, "Put that thing away and get out of my house," I picked up a hatchet from my stepdad's tools and ran downstairs telling him that in 10 seconds he's gonna be out of my house or he's gonna be without a dick. He ran, tripped over the door frame, and knocked himself out cold on the driveway. Blood coming out of his ears, the works. Mum told me to call my stepdad, who was at his friend's house, and they both came running to get rid of him. Last I heard, he was deaf in his left ear and blind in his left eye from an unexplained head injury. I put a dead fly in my little sister's rice when I was 10. She started to cry because she hates bugs and is downright terrified of them. I felt so bad watching her cry. To this day she won't even eat rice anymore. Edit. To be fair, she did throw my diary in the toilet, but I probably deserved it because I was a little shit. My high school art teacher was snappy and very rude. Let's call her Mrs. B. Mrs. B also had her very own clique of talented students. Basically, if she didn't like your art, she didn't like you. Such energy was directed towards my friends and me. I didn't take too kindly to this. So, I joined her rap art class, which was a fast track way to become one of her favorites. Now, Mrs. B had a habit of divulging all of her dirty laundry to her favorites because they were her friends. She was telling minors things that no student/child should know about their teacher, like the details of her divorce or how she was involved with a married man. I gathered all of these details from the last semester of my junior year of high school to the end of the first semester of my senior year. This was when I told my Spanish teacher, Mrs. J. Mrs. J didn't like Mrs. B, so the principal was obviously informed. By the end of the day, every teacher, student, and faculty member were told one way or another. Mrs. B's reputation had been ruined, and she had been forced to resign. I have no regrets. I systematically destroyed a girl who keyed my car and slashed my tires. She cheated with my best friend's boyfriend, I told. So she keyed my car and slashed all 4 tires, so I got her on video admitting to it. Then had her arrested, informed her employer, got a restraining order, so she got evicted. We lived in the same building. She came screaming at me in public, so I pressed charges. Because she shoved me on camera at a coffee shop and had that restraining order, she got time in prison. I don't know if it's revenge. I pretty much just pushed for legal consequences. When asked if I would accept lesser charges for her, I said no. It wasn't me personally, rather it was my housemate during university days. My housemate got upset because our other housemate was supposedly using her shampoo. In revenge, she swapped the contents of the shampoo bottle with hair removal cream. I was aghast when she told me what she'd done, but by then it was too late. During my divorce, my ex had a friend who was constantly talking shit, sending me DMs full of vulgarity, sharing stories about who she's out fucking with my ex, and sent me a video of her and my ex drinking and driving while calling me names. So I compiled all of it, sent it to her son's father, and he used it to get full custody of their son. She now sees him once a month and pays enough child support, which forced her to move back to her parents' house. I finally replied to her DMs telling me I ruined her life, with a picture of her ex and I with our sons together at a baseball game, saying, "Guess I see your son more than you do now." She attempted suicide a couple months later, where she was then 51-50. and forced into a 72-hour hold. Think I won that one. I was in grade 8. We had this new kid named Caleb move to our town. He came from a rough home in a different city and had been sent to live with his aunt and uncle in our small little town. Anyways, he managed to fit in pretty well and became friends with most of the boys in fairly short order. So, one day at recess, all the boys are playing basketball outside on a cement pad with hoops at either end. Caleb, hoping to show off how tough he is, decides to start not playing by the rules. He's committing hard fouls, literally punching other kids in the arm. When they went up for shots, he missed one time and punched a kid in the face. And he says what? We are playing by street rules. A couple days later, he's still doing this and still using the same excuses. We've all told him to stop and play normal, but he won't. So I decide it's time to teach him a lesson. I get the ball right under the hoop, fake like I'm going up for the shot, to get him off his feet. Then I bend at the hips and get really low. His knees basically come in contact with my side and he does a full flip and lands flat on his ass. I stand back up, make my shot, and say street rules, right? It's at this point I notice he's actually in quite a lot of pain. Turns out he broke his tailbone. But when he recovered, you better damn well believe he played basketball by the rules. My sister was being a dick to me as a kid, so when I next gave her a glass of milk, I put some kernels of corn in it, thinking it would gross her out. It didn't. It choked her. Cut to me giving my kid sister the Heimlich and apologizing 4 years after. So when we were kids, my little brother loved root beer. Had as many as mom would give him every day. When I was 10 and he was 8, he did something particularly annoying, and I pulled him into a room and told him, very seriously, that he had a drinking problem. He was super confused and didn't know what I meant. I told him, Craig, root beer is roots and beer, and you always want more. You have a beer problem. Now, we didn't know until later, but my brother is super autistic, and he believed me very literally. About 6 or so years after that, we went to a family dinner at my mom's favorite Mexican restaurant and were ordering our drinks. My mom asked my brother why he didn't want the root beer. He used to love it. They have a really good one on tap. My poor, sweet brother loved at my mom so earnestly and told her that he can't have root beers anymore because he used to have an addiction, so he can't ever have root beer again. My mom immediately knew that I was behind it, and I still haven't lived it down. Back in 2004, when I was 25, a guy I was dating cheated on me multiple times, and when I found out, he tried to make it seem like it was my fault he cheated because I put on 15 pounds when I had to take steroids for Lyme's disease. I was so mad I posted his number on the men seeking men section on Craigslist with a title that said I like to suck D, call me. Our mutual friend said he received so many calls when he was at work he got fired. Oops. Once in high school, my best friend lent the school book from me because she wanted to copy the important pages and she couldn't find hers. After that, she told me she gave it back to me and I just lost it somewhere. She definitely did not, since it wasn't her problem. She didn't bother searching with me. Spoiler, I never saw that book again. Fast forward, exams coming up. It's like 3 weeks before, and my dumbass doesn't have a book to learn with. I remembered I was still mad that she lost my book. Under pressure, I took her book out of her backpack and took it home. At first I just wanted to copy the whole book and give it back without her noticing. Again, spoiler, I did not. We didn't really have a good relationship then, because she would get mad at me for days and talk to me when she didn't understand something, and I was sick of it. To get to the point, she failed the exam. She started asking me about the book 3 days before the test. Apparently she didn't notice it was missing for 3 whole weeks. Still have mixed feelings about this, and I kinda feel bad because I could have just bought a new one. She was kinda toxic at the end though. They were like $40 or something, which is expensive, but still. When I was in high school, I was small for my age and this kid was always picking on me. One day I had enough, and when he was running down the hall to the door to outside, I tripped him. He fell and went through the bottom wire reinforced pane of the door and cut his arm and face. I felt horrible. My friend was on the bus waiting to leave school. Younger kid was being mouthy and pissing people off, so my friend said something along the lines of, "God, your parents must hate you." Turns out the kid was an orphan. This kid named Ben kept winning at stuff. He was smart as F with math. I was jealous because my parents really wanted me to be good at math and I had a very difficult time with it. He also got to be patrol captain, and even though I applied I didn't get to be one. I was a short kid, like third shortest in the class. It was elementary school, so people care about that. So we had this exercise where we practice compliments. I said to Ben, "I like you because you make me feel tall." He cried. It was his birthday. "Sorry, Ben. I hope you don't remember that."